the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC,
Shalom, shalom.
the Assyrian king
Shalom, my
took us
brothers
down,
and
we
sisters.
fell. With a great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. At gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us.
Shalom, shalom.
In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A higher gatherers in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. A highest gathering Israel.
Most High's gathering Israel. Hit the like button. Brothers and sisters, please hit the like button. Help me out here. Bless you. Do we have a broadcast for you this evening?
Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. We be Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians,
Oh,
Manasseh, the Cubans,
yeah.
from Puerto Rico, and Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel.
That's right, brothers and sisters. The Most High is gathering Israel. I'm Elder Rick Harshar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly broadcast. I would like to thank you all for your current presence and all the support you've given the Gathering of Christ Church up until this time. And you know what? We're going to ride this all the way to the wilderness, okay? Please do us a favor. I know a lot of you are chopping at the bit for this particular topic. That's right, breaking generational curses. But before we go in, please hit the like button, okay? We're under a shadow ban, and YouTube isn't doing us any favors, okay? They're not going to suggest others to come find out what we all know here this evening. So you can drive the algorithm this way by hitting the like button. Thank you for your presence. Breaking generational curses is the topic. Now tonight, our brother, our elder within the Gathering of Christ Church, Elder Loya, will not be joining me this evening. Right now, he's overseas. He's in England right now, and it's quite late, and he's been there, for some time, since Sunday, okay? So, okay, who knows? He may wake up and want to call in, but I told him I'll handle this tonight. If he would like to call in, he could, and it's up to you all. The deacons, the bishops, all the people that's around the world. If y'all want to call in, brothers and sisters, you can call in and chime in for this particular topic, okay? Okay, before I go into it, I would be amiss if I didn't send out prayers to the UK family. We're going through something right now. I'm one of the current founders that was there since the beginning. Dwayne, the twin, right now he's in the hospital, and our prayers are there for him, with him, and with the family, and we lift him up in prayer. And I know throughout all of it that the brother in his strength would love us to continue out here bringing God's people together while he's dealing with, right now he's in the hospital and his family's in the hospital. And it's kind of hard going forward with all this. But, we have to bring forth this truth and bring again Zion. And next week, of course, when Lawyer come back, I'm gonna switch off, and I'm gonna be there, to pray next to the brother's bedside. So, and yes, and I want you all to lift up your prayers, because the brother, strong brother in the word of the Most High, who broke ground since the beginning over there in UK, and he's loved by many. And I know he feel the love, and he's loved by thousands. So, all right. All right. So jumping right in. Thank you for all your prayers. Put your prayers up for my brother. That's right. All right. Let me make one announcement real quick before we go into the broadcast, okay? First of all, I'd like to thank the loyal Patreon members, you brothers and sisters who have always supported Patreon. We have some new material coming up there, some new content that can only be shown there, and we'll be uploading that quite soon. Not only do we have those interviews, but a lot of new content will be for Patreon, being that that's one of the places we can still speak freely. So I'm going to try to have a Patreon this coming Friday, a health Patreon, so that brothers and sisters can call in and get on board with what's happening when it comes to natural health, okay? And how at the end of the day, that's right, at the end of the day, even if we're getting consultation and we're getting advice from so-called experts or doctors, at the end of the day, we must make an informed decision for ourselves outside of the scope of all of this, okay? Know your body, know how you're feeling, and not just deal with some diagnosis. And I'm going to have doctors in to discuss how we can get in charge of our health. For far too long, we've been putting our health and diagnoses and the future of our children's health in others' hands. And when you look up eugenics, so at the end of it, that's all I can say on that. But all in all, make sure you're in Patreon so that we can discuss this, getting in front of your health, so that you can understand about some of these diagnoses out there and how to weigh them Because at the end of the day, are we better off as a people? Are we living or are we losing quality of life listening to some of these people? Who knows? We'll talk about that this coming Friday. Okay? Now, jumping right in. Speaking of, speaking right now of what you can or cannot say. Breaking generational curses. Brother Kanye West is in the news today, but I'm not going to talk about what others are trying to talk about concerning him right now. No one said that breaking generational curses would be easy, and no one said that breaking generational curses would make sense to the world. Right? So I'm not here to hold Kanye West up as some type of prophet or whatever the case is, but when you've been put in a box, right? This is what generational curses look like. From his vantage point in his position. Okay? This is what breaking generational curses look like. But Brother Kanye, I'm going to say this to you, brother, because I know sometimes you probably look at the videos or whatever the case. I'm going to say this. You either have to be hot or cold. You have to be hot or cold. The confusion that's going on right now out there when it comes to that brother is that he's trying to convince the world to do right. When after being on the other side, he understands more so than any of us that that's an impossibility. He's trying to show that it could be done some differently than the same man he believed in, that he's stomping for, that he say that he's a fervent believer in Christ. Right? You can't be on the inside and provoke the change that only comes with those who have stepped all the way out on the outside of the bubble, even if it means losing everything. We can try to instill morals while we're doing all these things and putting our families together and doing certain things, and I'm going to say that, but the whole thing is, you can't, vanity is a deep spirit. And when we connect ourselves with women or people who have made their living and have even ran into you, Kanye, through vanity, we can't expect now that we have learned the truth to turn them into something they don't want. And I'm going to put it that way because I don't want to disrespect the brother's family. But what I want to say about Kanye real quick, and believe it or not, I wasn't going to actually talk about Kanye at all, okay? But what we're seeing with him and others who are not speaking publicly is how breaking generational curses is exactly what generational curses looks like. It's that breaking free from a system in real time with all the cameras on you, with all the microphones hot, evolving into something greater and within that in-between metamorphosis, it looks crazy to everyone. It looks crazy to those who love him, and it looks crazy to others out here who know the Bible and saying, well, listen, brother, if you're going to come on, if you're going to come over, you got to come all the way over. But you know what it means. Because the devil isn't going to let anyone on the inside of his kingdom who he has incentivized tear him down from the inside. But there's some good things that Kanye is talking about, which segues right into what I'm talking about today with breaking generational curses. Now, what we're seeing out there with Kanye, what they would like us to hear is a bunch of smoke and mirrors. It's really getting away from some of the things he's saying that's provoking real thought. Like, for instance, Kanye West calls out Kwanzaa. Kanye West calls out Kwanzaa holiday and says it's made up. He calls out Kwanzaa holiday and says it's made up. Now, you can go look at the whole Tucker Carlson interview. Someone sent that to me. Now, there's no need to say fair use when I'm reading an article. I'm good on that. Only when we're playing videos or things like that must we, make disclaimers, all right? Now, this, if you want to go see the Tucker Carlson interview, I urge you all to see it, but that's what breaking away looks like initially. Kanye West calls out Kwanzaa holiday, says it's made up. The multi-talented artist headed to his Instagram in a now deleted post to pose a question. Now, why out of all things would Kanye West attack a so-called Black Christmas? See, they don't want you to see this, right? So Kanye West knows something. When you do the research of the people who made up Kwanzaa, there's a direct connection to the same people that are over these organizations that we think are black, that are being ran by the controllers, those who have always destroyed us, using black people, ignorant black people, as props. They would rather give us Kwanzaa than have us realize that we are supposed to be following the Feast of Dedication. Days like Purim, Passover. So they gave us a pagan Christmas and allowed us to follow it because why? Because it falls right up under the slave religion that we learned here in chattel slavery or captivity. And he's upset about it because his wife, trying to connect with some level of blackness, claiming she's raising black children, has an organization in Hollywood in which her children now will be celebrating Kwanzaa instead of Christmas, a garbage holiday that was made up. Okay? A straight bootleg Christmas. Now, I'm going to show you how you break generational curses. A lot of you haven't heard about this, but you really need to hear some of what this brother is saying. He don't agree with his wife giving his children Christmas or Kwanzaa. Because why? He knows. He knows he's an Israelite. Not according to religion, according to birthright. Sometimes the mistakes brothers out there make is that they have to say who other people are or are not, instead of just stating the facts when it comes to what? since they want to use this phrase, instead of us saying our truth. You can go into the Bible and break down who the Israelites are, and guess what? The Bible will point the finger to those who are not, without us saying anything. So we have to be very careful when we're speaking out there. Listen, if it's about empowering our children, giving our children tradition, the correct tradition which is written in Torah, then we don't have to say anything about the other people. That's the mistake he's making. But I digress. But who said breaking generational curses would make sense to the world? This world that's confused, dumbed down. A totally ignorant world we're living in right now, but I digress. Kanye West took shots at the African American tradition of Kwanzaa on Wednesday, August 31st. This how long ago this was. But he said it currently in an interview with Tucker Carlson. According to Complex, and he called out BET too. Okay? He says the same front people over BET is no different than who they put over the BLM and these other organizations. Black faces with ignorant people that they think that we're going to actually embrace. When we're not related to none of these people they're rolling out in front of us. We could care less about these so-called front pieces they're putting before us. The dreck of society, the bottom of society is what they throw a few coins or shekels at, because our people will do anything to get recognized, and roll them out as if they're leaders. And I'm going to talk about that. They're going to throw some coins at and some dollar bills at. Kanye says, what the F, okay, we can't use that word here, this is a family show, is Kwanzaa. He said, what the is Kwanzaa? And who made up this BS? And he's right. I remember when Kwanzaa was actually created, coming up. It was some of the most, it's one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. Christmas with kente cloth. And it says, West wrote on the social media platform claiming that the holiday, just like Juneteenth, they could take Juneteenth and bury that too. That's a bunch of garbage. All of it is garbage. It says right here, West wrote on the social media platform claiming that the holiday was being taught to black students at California Sierra Keyon Private School. Everyone lives in LA for the check anyway. So no one really cares about their children being indoctrinated. So you know why the system and private schools and others will get behind Kwanzaa? You know why? Because it further perpetuates the ignorance of pagan holidays. We're so lost that we have to make up holidays instead of just following the Christmas they gave us. That's why they'll push it, because they know it's African spiritualism is paganism. And they know that. And guess what, you so-called black conscious people, guess what? You're not going to out-pagan Europeans. Let me say it again. You are not going to out-pagan Europeans. If you're dealing with a bootleg pagan day claiming that black people did it first, it still doesn't make it right. It's stupid. Everything black isn't right, and you're going to find that out tonight. One thing he said was interesting, which was evident, Kanye West, is that white lives matter. He put on a t-shirt And all of these people, politically and otherwise, were going crazy, tearing out their hair. White lives matter. What do you mean? And he says, it's evident that white lives matter. Look at what's going on with our people and look at the rules they make for their people. If black lives matter, we would be in a better position. It's obvious that we're wearing a shirt that's garbage, that we're living in a world where our people, our children, don't matter. Okay? We're living in a world where white lives matter. That's common sense. But I digress. And that's what he said. He says, this wasn't no knock at Black Lives Matter. He says, when my father called, it was just stating the obvious. How ridiculous that looks. We walk around with this shirt on saying our lives matter, right? And guess what? We're continually asking for equality, reparations. We're asking not to be regentrified. We're asking for any level of help we can. And while we're getting stomped out talking about our lives matter. So what the brother did in a nutshell, I'm going to make this a Kanye West show. What he did was he provoked thought. He provoked the thought that say, listen, it's time for us to do something different. And this is what we have been talking about for a long time. It's time to do something different. And the Most High is, guess what? He's going to force us to do something different. Or cease to exist. Let me go here real quick and then I'm going to jump right into it. He says, everyone lives in LA for the check anyway. So no one really cares about their children being indoctrinated. Now, unfortunate for the brother or anyone else who has ties to witches and others in this world, I'm going to put that out there, who deal with all these dark sciences, especially if you are in LA. Kanye, I know you're looking at this. I know you're looking at this, my brother. And I think you've seen this also. This is Charlize Theron's so-called daughters. Well, what brothers and sisters don't know, and I can say this outright because it's public record, these particular children were born male. Okay, well, maybe she said they were assigned male at birth. That's what they're saying now. And you know what? They're probably celebrating Kwanzaa also. Brother, you know what's going on there, and the fact remains. I know the brother, he moved across the street from his children, knowing the madness that's in Hollywood, that's in those places. But the reality is, when you choose this truth, when you choose following Christ, there's a chance you're going to lose everything, especially in a system that have empowered the matriarchy to raise your children. And unfortunate for you, this woman who's an influencer that you've met and had children with has more ammunition, including the corporations and the companies and the government. She have more ammunition behind her to influence those children than you. But I digress. I digress. Breaking generational curses is the topic this evening. What curses? The curses of the Israelites. See, I don't have to talk around it. I don't have to speak about other people. Only thing I have to do is open up the word, Kanye, and just tell them the truth. The reality of the matter is, and I know the brother's trying to hold on, you know, the reality of the matter is, we have to stop talking more so about us as individuals. Steve Jobs, or who I am and how I'm looking to change the world and I'm this and I'm that. The one who came to change the world has already come. The greatest genius that have ever graced the planet was rejected by men. He's greater than a genius, the Son of God. And the reality of the matter is that brother, hey, I can better say it through what I'm about to go into right now. A 2-hour interview, Kanye. And we're talking about all these other people. And it would be the perfect opportunity to get in front of those people and open up the Bible and say, this is how we break generational curses. Our people is under a curse, and there's people who are incentivized and benefit from God's people staying on the bottom. And the reason why God's people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. This is why we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because we are a people in number without an identity. Okay? You don't ask children, newly learned children, when they begin to learn to write out and speak full sentences. No. We teach the children the alphabet first. We teach them their ABCs. And as they progress and begin to recognize and get familiar and become familiar with the letters, then we show them how to be able to form words. Well, I'm using that analogy because when we get an opportunity, what our people need to know are their ABCs first. Who are we and how did we get here? The ABCs is when you get a platform that's, since everyone is spouting about you and talking about you, open up the book and say, listen, I may not be able to tell you everything, but we are the children of Israel. And I don't have to speak about who others aren't. We're going to let anybody can claim to be anything they want to be. But the opportunity to give our people the ABCs, in this way, when Kanye and others, when the TV go off, when all that, they're going like, Israel, that would make sense. We were the people enslaved in Egypt. Maybe that's why the pyramid is on the dollar bill. Maybe the others know and aren't telling us. And they're trying to keep us at the bottom of the pyramid. Right? So you, just like you lay out your ABCs for children when you get an opportunity, don't talk about yourself. Put out there something that our people can take outside of saying, well, you know what? He's pretty intelligent. He's pretty smart. He's different. And we'll be talking more about Christ and freeing our people than upholding one individual. Curses. Let me open up the Bible real quick. I'm going to open up the Bible here. That's right. Eastward, a very good Bible program. And I'm going to Isaiah real quick. I'm going to Isaiah. Now, Torah and the Tanakh, for those who don't know. Torah is the first 5 books of Moses. The first 5 books of Moses. Moses was the leader who was born, brothers and sisters, in the earth to free our people. And our people, the children of Israel, we weren't Israelites at that time. We weren't Israelites until we came out of the land. We were raised Egyptian citizens, but we were Shemite. We weren't Hamite. Even though we were raised and became a multitude in Egypt. Well, Egypt didn't want to let us go because our God blessed them so. Okay? Egypt became a great nation because our people made that nation great. Okay? They didn't want to let us go. Even before Moses came on the scene, there was a plan in which the government of Egypt suggested that the midwives, Exodus 1, if the wife see a child that's a male, that they were to kill the male at birth. Exodus 1. Kill the male at birth in fear of a leader coming out of that line, that Shemite line. See? Sounds familiar? And then Kanye West today is talking about a genocide of our people when it comes to a certain demographic of our people who never get an opportunity to breathe under the legislation that allows deletion before the children get an opportunity to come into the world. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? The first 5 books of Moses is the Torah. Then you have the prophets. The prophets were sent to warn the people. And guess what? This is how you know prophecies are true. When you're living in the United States or in the world, thousands of years after the prophets were shown our current time, and be able to point out real time, don't forget, thousands of years before it happened. And now you're able to know and confirm that these weren't just men. These weren't necromancers or fortune tellers. These men were inspired by God so that we could one day pick up the record and do something about our current condition. Like Moses, like the prophets. See, I'm tying it in. So that I know one day if Kanye and others see this, they'll understand when the opportunity comes, it's about exalting the Most High like the prophets. And since we're going into the prophets, why are we still under a curse? Well, some would like to think it's only about the white man, the white man, the white man. Well, folks, the governments of this earth would not have been able to do anything that they're doing with us unless they had representatives, traitors that would be willing to sacrifice their own people to be accepted by master. And these are they who are more dangerous than so-called European or white people. These people are more dangerous. See, the Egyptians didn't think about saying, well, okay, put Egyptians over them. They was like, well, hold up now. They'll know not to trust us. Let's incentivize and put taskmasters of their own people over them. Let's incentivize them. Let's educate them. Let's put them in a high status so that they can sit in rooms with us as the special amongst the sheep. And if we can get them and give them accolades and levels of success, and you know what? We will make their leaders and taskmasters, and will incentivize their people who would eventually become traitors. That's right. That's right, folks. We will replace leaders with traitors. Let me read it here. Isaiah 56 in the prophets. Isaiah 56. And I'm going to open up the lines early. And oh yeah, you know I'm about to pull up that video, no voting. It's coming, so hit the like button. It's going to get turned up in here this evening, okay? Isaiah 56 and 9, let me read it. You know the prophets are true because everything the prophets said has happened and will happen. And what did the prophets say about our leaders? Well, in Isaiah the 56th chapter in the 9th verse, it reads, "All ye beasts of the field, come to devour ye, all ye beasts in the forest." Let me blow it up for you. His watchmen are blind. His watchmen are blind. They are ignorant. See, ignorant doesn't mean you're stupid. You can have people with PhDs and are highly educated in certain areas who are smart in where they learn to take tests and pass tests and become, and get educated. You can have intelligent people who are ignorant. Okay? You can have a master's, you can be a professor, you can be a teacher, you can be highly educated and be ignorant to who you are. So it tells you that his watchmen, people who are in position that we trust to lead us, to warn us of our enemies, are blind. They are ignorant. They are what? It tells us in the scriptures, they are ignorant. They are ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They are dumb dogs. They cannot bark. They cannot bark. Which means when it comes to the enemy who's really controlling them and have a battery in their back, they're like little chihuahuas, little poodles. But when they get amongst our people, they become pit bulls. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain, for his quarter. So the enemy of God's people understands this sector of so-called leaders who are traitors amongst our community. You know why they know this? Because they have studied us. When the Greeks got in charge, one of the first things they wanted to do is get the whole Old Testament. It's called the Septuagint. Torah and Tanakh translated in the Greek so that they can study us. And they knew that there's loyal people who's willing to stand against injustice, and there's too many of us that will stand for what's right. But they can put money behind a very small sector that's willing to sell out our people. You know how they know this? Because they've read the same scriptures I'm reading right now. And they know only thing they have to find is the reprobates and the greedy dogs and the satanic. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put this straight out there. The satanic spirit of skankness. The satanic spirit of skankness. Right? It's too much to fix all of it. Let me tell you, if they were to give reparations and do what's right by our people, it would bankrupt the world. So that's too much of an ask for them. So they say, let's incentivize the spirit of skankness, satanic, evil, debauchery, perversion, because that's a small segment that we can choose and can easily control, because these people are morally and sexually compromised. We'll just throw a few dollars behind them and make them the new leaders. Let me read this in Deuteronomy 28 real quick. I'm going to show you where we're going here because I got a video to show. Hit the like button. I need you to hit the like button, folks. Deuteronomy 28 is God speaking to the Israelites. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt listen, which is hearken, diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So if our forefathers were to follow these laws, we would be placed above all races of people. This is what makes our people great. Is the fact that we would become, this is what God intended. He intended his people to become the moral standard for the world and to become a light to the Gentiles, to pull this world evildoers out of darkness. He says, I would make you above all these people. But check this out. 15. But it shall come to pass that if thou will not hearken, if we are ignorant, if we decide not to follow the God who delivered us out of the hands of the Egyptians, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, what people are these? Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field, picking cotton, getting regenified in the neighborhoods, while they're slowly putting us down like dogs under the guise of helping us. Folks, don't let your eyes deceive you. We are disappearing under the spirit of health. Cursed shall be thy basket in thy store. That means what? These are the people who wouldn't have any financial savings to not just bury themselves, but to give to their children. Wealth. you will make just enough to live that week or that month. Cursed shall be thy fruit and thy body and the fruit of thy land and the increase of thy kind and the flocks. They would own everything. Everything. Curses, 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 curses. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out of the way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. All of the Gentile nations will take turns with us. Oh yeah. Why would they need to discover penicillin? Well, it tells us in 27, the Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with that itch. With the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. STDs. The Lord will smite thee with madness and with blindness, mental health issues, and astonishment of heart. But guess what? When you go down here, it tells us that these curses shall be upon our people as a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Kanye, I hope you're looking at this, young man. You don't have to say who others aren't. It's obvious what people falls under the curse who are the chosen, who have all the talent and bring spirit, culture, music, ideas to the world, but yet the masters take all the credit. Well, it says here, they would be able to take the credit, and these curses would be a sign on not just us, but the world, showing that these people must be the children of Israel. It'll be a sign on us. Deuteronomy 28 is a sign to let everyone knows, the same way if you walk, hey, if you see a sign that says McDonald's, you're not going to go into McDonald's looking for the big Whopper. Okay? Because there's a sign that says McDonald's. When you go to Burger King, you're not going to ask for a Big Mac because the sign says Burger King. Well, the curses is a sign on our people. If you're going through these things in Deuteronomy 28, it rules out any other people who's claiming to be these people. You don't have to say anything. But no one can replace this one. 64. Let's go down to 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Wood represents the cross for Christianity, pagan Christianity, and stone represents the Kaaba. The two enemies of God who've colluded together to come against us, to throw us off the beaten path of our true identity and birthright. Ishmael and Esau are together, throwing religion at our feet, indoctrinating our children like Kanye West is complaining about. And this is why they'll push and finance stupid Kwanzaa. That's a holiday for idiots. At least Christmas and others, brothers and sisters, is rooted in ancient paganism that you can actually research for the Gentiles. Kwanzaa is some bootleg type of Christmas they created saying, well, I'm black with kente cloth and I'm going to give the children a black Christmas. Simple as the day is old. But here's the one above all. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, captivity again, by the means of ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you or redeem us out of this condition. It would take Christ to redeem us out of this condition. No other people can stake claim to this sign but the children of Israel. And Christ even talked about this sign in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter. Let's go. And I'm putting it right up on the screen so you can see it yourself. I didn't make this up. Luke 21. Christ, the one whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus. His name is Yeshua. Some people call him Yeshua, but his name is Yeshua in the Hebrew. And Christ showed us that this sign would happen. When you go to Luke 21 and 20, one of Christ's final messages to the disciples, letting them know that even though I'm giving you this gospel that you will teach and it will go throughout the whole earth, you're getting this gospel. Why? Because my people will lose Judea. Your children are going into captivity according to a curse due to disobedience. The leaders have sold you out. And now we must suffer the curse until the Most High makes an amendment. Luke 21 and 20. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. The desolation of abomination written of in Daniel. Therefore let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains. This is how we got into Africa in number, brothers and sisters. And it says here, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in countries where into. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written where in the prophets, the Old Testament, may be fulfilled. Look at the 21st verse, folks. Link this in with Deuteronomy 28, and Christ has what? Christ put a period on it, that we are the children of Israel. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. We fell by the edge of the sword. Vespasian and Titus. This is history. This is not religion here. In 70 AD, Vespasian and Titus, Romans, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. Slave ships was prophesied by Christ, and it happened a few decades after Christ's death. This happened. 40 years later, the Romans came against us and we lost Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by who? The Gentiles. So common sense would tell us who's in the land. History says that our people, God's people, would lose Jerusalem, and that it will be trodden down by the Gentiles. This is why Ishmael at one time ruled Jerusalem, and Islam spearheaded itself into a prominent religion, which is really Persian mythology, straight Satanism at its height. And then Rome ended up getting Jerusalem later. Listen, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So common sense would tell you that God's people would be in captivity. Well, since we're talking about captivity, these are Israelites according to the Bible. Israelites isn't a religion. That's who we are. And that's how we break generational curses. not by throwing credit to Satanists like Steve Jobs and others, and giving them credit for their mind like Nick Tesla, which was a straight occultist and Satanist. And this is the problem that Kanye West has. He's in a world with all his understanding, with all his knowledge, and with all his ideas, not realizing that the enemy will never allow you to play their game and win. We were born in this earth to serve them. Unless we choose to break free and break the generational curse. We cannot fight them and argue with them to why they're not going to let us take their game. They're not going to allow you to take their game. They're going to allow you to come up with the ideas, and then eventually you're going to sell it back to them, or they're going to find a way to get it back, just like they were able to take everything. Look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson thought he outsmarted them, but the devil have nothing but time. So they're going to allow you to spew and tantrum. They allow you to do all that. Just come up with a few more ideas. We're going to still serve it, because that's all they see of us. That's all they think of us, because that's what the scriptures say we would be until what? We decide to come back to the God who put us in this condition. We're going to get it turned up in here right now. Right now. Right now. The Willie Lynch letter and making of slaves. Making of slaves. Making this is let me break it down to you here. Yeah. We must turn them. We must emasculate the man in a nutshell. And we must, that's right, we must turn the black woman into something else against her own nature. And this is not me attacking. I'm just saying this was the plan. The plan was one day this guy going to wake up, but we need to focus on her. If we can focus on her and make her, the black woman, the leader over the community or over the slave quarters, that's right, we'll have them throughout perpetuity. Because we can utilize her through her fear of what? Of her losing substance. Losing the propensity to be able to survive. Right? But there's a few things I'm going to pull out of here real quick to go straight to it. I'm going to go straight to it. Right here. I'm going to go straight to it here. Because I'm not going to go over the full thing here, but I'm going to pull one thing out here. Right here. I need y'all to check this out, folks. Let's make a slave. I'm going to put this over here because I need to really bring this out. The breaking process of the African woman. Then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desire willingly, right? Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If we can get her on our side instead of her man's side, this woman can help not only run our economy, right? She would actually embolden our economy. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her. That's how resistant our women were in the 1700s. To extract the last bit of B word out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. Take care not to kill her, because you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when you become of age. When they become of age, they'll be willing employers. Hence the reason why they started pushing currently in our society a different world, the Huxtables, and now, that's right, peddling education predominantly to sisters. When men are less educated and make more medial income, even though the men don't have degrees. This is why they do it. Now, it says here, understanding the best thing, therefore, we shall deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced. In this breaking process of the female inward, we have reverse relationships. In her natural civilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the strong, uncivilized male. And she would have limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring and would raise the female offspring. Listen, would raise the female offspring to be dependent like her. You can't trust a man. Well, we thought that came from Willie Lynch. By her being left alone unprotected with the male image destroyed, because they would use programs, media, and all that to destroy the image of men, the ordeal caused her to move her psychological dependent state to frozen independent state. An independent woman was created in the 1700s. As a survival mechanism. She will raise her male and female offsprings in reversed roles. So you would train the boy to be less of a go-getter and put that on the girl, saying that, well, hold through fear. You can't trust a man. A man can leave you at any time. He can cheat on you anytime. Make your own money just in case. And then you're not going to put that same drive into the son. And then we're going to have young men growing up in a feminine role. And then we'll say, well, we got to do it because there's no good men around because the men aren't go-getters. For fear, and this is why the majority of women, 80% of the women go after the 20% of men on earth. because these are the men who have broken through. Okay? And are about their business. So women in this world is willing to share 20% than get one of these guys around here that have been raised like little girls. For fear of the young man's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Now, check this out, the part that I want to actually focus on. Right here. I want to focus on this. Earlier, we talked about the non-economic good of horses and the N-word in their wild and natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and lying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we're talking about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring, orderly future planning. Then more recently, we stated, by reversing positions of the male and the female savages, we had created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. Until this phenomenon occurred. And reshifted the positions of the male and the female savages. So what did Willie Lynch know? He knew that it would continue as a generational curse unless a phenomenon occurred. The phenomenon is here. And that's what's going on with Kanye West and others. We know now. The phenomenon that can break the role reversal is when our people start figuring out that we're Israelites. Therefore, the woman